Starvation is ongoing. And look, I do hope that a dam is bursting. You mentioned the genocide word. Shmuel Lederman, who is an Israeli researcher of genocide, spent much of 2024 saying it's not a genocide, it's not a genocide. He was interviewed by a Dutch newspaper last week. He said, I've changed my position. It is a genocide. He said, in my field, there's a consensus among genocide scholars that it's a genocide. In fact, that Dutch newspaper interviewed 7 leading scholars of genocide. Every single one said, we think what's happening in Gaza is a genocide. In fact, this week, Piers, you have an Israeli former general, Yair Golan, saying a sane country does not attack civilians, does not kill babies as a hobby, and does not expel civilian populations. That is Yair Golan, the former deputy chief of the Israeli military, prominent Israeli politician. He was a hero on October the 7th, fought Hamas himself on October the 7th. This is what he said this week.
Okay, John Spencer, you've been kind of pulling a lot of faces there. You obviously don't agree. But given that so many allies of Israel are now raising massive alarm bells about what is happening, you can't be comfortable, surely, with what is going on in Gaza, are you?
Absolutely not. I think it's horrible. I think there are people suffering. I just am not misinformed on who is the cause of that suffering, that it isn't Israel, that war isn't a crime. War should be avoided at all costs, and Israel did that. And this war didn't start 75 years ago. This war started on October 7th when Hamas invaded Israel and tried to destroy and actually did genocidal acts. I agree that there's a lot of suffering happening in Gaza, and it's the list of people who are responsible. Israel's not on it in my list. Hamas is on it, and I actually have solutions. You asked Mehdi for a solution. I have solutions based on the history of war. Number one solution is to encourage Egypt to open the gate that they control and create a humanitarian zone. Let every woman, child, and elderly person out of Gaza, just like you and I have discussed in the past about Ukraine. 5 million women, children, elderly left Ukraine to escape Russia's evil and bombardments. That could be done today, and it's criminal that it hasn't happened today. Now, Mehdi uses experts, although I thought credentialism and expert theory was a bad thing today. I've been on the ground, although I've heard that that's a bad thing as well. And what's missing here is, again, which is why I was shaking my head, is that you believe, based on statements of politicians that are not the actual government and the decision makers of the institution, that Israel is intentionally causing this harm. That's false as well. Point the finger at Hamas, as you've said in the past, Piers, and I'm sorry we've lost you. Maybe you and I can go to Gaza because it's not true.
Well, actually, it's interesting. I mean, look, just on that, John, look, you haven't lost me. I still think Hamas is a terrorist organization which committed one of the worst terrorist crimes of the last century. And they should absolutely no longer have any power in that region. They should absolutely be dismantled as a political force and the rest of it. I just see no evidence that Israel's mission statement to eradicate Hamas has worked. In fact, conversely, more and more reports are coming out that for every Hamas terrorist who's been killed, they're being replaced by 4 or 5 people who share that ideology. So the mission statement isn't working. And you say that Israel is not intentionally killing innocent people, but it knows it is killing a lot of innocent people. So its argument is we're going after Hamas, they're embedded in civilian populations, but they are killing a lot of innocent civilians every single day. And not just killing them, they're now starving them, which will also lead to deaths, which is a deliberate, willful act of trying to kill people. Would you accept that?
It's a war crime.
No, not at all. No. I mean,
starving people?
You can have your own opinions based on your assessment. Yeah, absolutely not starving.
Wow. So you can have your own opinions. That's what the right wing does, though. They make up their own fairy tale world. They ignore things that are obvious to anyone with an ounce of sense and just an ounce of empathy. And they just pretend it doesn't happen or it's happening differently. Like all those good Christians that supported slavery back in, the 1800s. All those good Christians support Donald Trump. Act like he's the next coming of Jesus. But he's the total opposite. One of the worst humans ever walked the planet. These people are just despicable. They are deplorable. Hillary Clinton was right. They are deplorable people. A bunch of fake, religious, horrible people. taking from the poor, killing the poor, giving to the rich, tax breaks for the rich at the cost, poor people on Medicaid, Medicare, and the far right in Israel committing a genocide against innocent Gazan people, the innocent Palestinians. And forget about Hamas. Yeah, they deserve what they get. But we're talking about the innocent people here. Remember that. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching.